My girlfriend, who is 20 years old, and I, also 20, used to share a particularly intimate connection which saw us being very active every day for the first 6 months or so of our relationship. It was a time of excitement and a deep sense of discovery. Looking back, these initial months were filled with a kind of thrilling newness that only comes with being young and in love. I had never slept with anyone before her, and she brought to me experiences that shaped my understanding of intimacy, helping me explore new facets of connection and affection. I felt as though our lives had fittingly intertwined, wrapped in the warmth of each day spent together, discovering more about one another. However, I was aware in the back of my mind that this level of frequent closeness might not be sustainable in the long run. After all, it is common for relationships to simmer down from their initial blaze as time progresses. I knew this was a possibility not only because of our youth, but also due to the fresh, exhilarating nature of our early bond. Expecting things to slow down a bit was realistic, considering the euphoria typical of a brand new relationship. I was grounded enough in reality to predict a potential shift in our dynamics, as we settled more into the comfort zone of knowing each other well, beyond the thrill of novelty. It's the kind of understanding that one develops where the excitement of new gradually evolves into the comforting companionability of familiar. Still, those initial days hold a special place in my heart as they represent a cherished time of connection and exploration, fostering the bedrock for us as a couple. It is quite normal for relationships to transition from such intensity as partners become more attuned to each other's company, shifting landscapes from fiery passion to deeper emotional bonds. And while I was prepared for a change, the degree to which things have shifted was admittedly unexpected. Our physical relationship, which once felt like a daily ritual of closeness, somehow transformed into something relatively rare. Now, instances of physical intimacy have dwindled to maybe once or twice a month. It is during these moments when I try to reassure her by being attentive, sometimes focusing on her pleasure by going down on her. Yet, even such attempts seem insufficient for reigniting the consistency we once had. This notable dip didn't just catch me off guard, it's something neither of us foresaw. In her defense, I recognize that the past year has been a roller coaster of emotions for her. She has been grappling with depression, a deeply complex and taxing journey which has cast a shadow over various aspects of her life. On top of that, she has had to face some personal losses and numerous challenges that have undoubtedly influenced her overall well-being. Throughout this tumultuous time, I have steadfastly stood by her side, trying my best to offer support and understanding. I can't help but empathize, having weathered my own battles with depression for quite some time. That familiarity gives me a vantage point of immense understanding, one that makes me realize how intricately it impacts every facet of life, from trivial actions to fundamental experiences like intimacy. However, a significant roadblock remains: her refusal of any professional therapy, whether for her depression or for the impact these issues have had on our sex life. We've discussed the situation multiple times, and she often responds with anger, quickly closing her heart to the conversation. She firmly asserts that she doesn't owe me physical intimacy, emphasizing how much she dislikes talking about it. I want to respect her autonomy and never intended to give the impression of making demands, but a part of me fervently believes that open dialogue is crucial. I deserve that much, at least a conversation. One grounded in mutual respect where our thoughts and needs can be laid out without fear of misunderstanding. In all these discussions, she has reassured me that the substantial drop isn't due to a misalignment in attraction or infidelity. I'm inclined to believe her because our rapport still feels genuine and honest. What gives me pause is her history of sexual trauma. It's an aspect of her life she rarely broaches, and though she downplays its significance regarding our current situation, I'm not entirely convinced it's not influencing her now. Despite her claims, I've endeavored to remain as sensitive and caring as possible. She's said, often and sincerely, how our time together has been nothing short of positive in her eyes. Yet, there's an invisible wall now, one I long to understand and navigate with her, but need her willingness to address openly. Until then, I stay tethered to hope, hoping for even a small breakthrough that might bring us closer again. To find a compromise where each of us feels heard and valued without pressure, crafting a renewed harmony that's rooted in the empathy and love we share. My journey alongside her struggles is not one of mere obligation, but a heartfelt desire to support her in every possible way. Dealing with depression myself, I understand the crippling impact it can have on every facet of life. However, my experience has taught me the irreplaceable value of seeking help, like therapy, a step she adamantly refuses to consider both for her mental health and our intimate life. In our interactions, the aim is never to pressurize her or to demand undue attentions, but rather to express and explore how we might navigate these turbulent waters together. Yet, even after having respectful discussions about seeking external help, the mere mention nudges her into anger and pushes her to shut things down. Her declarations are often filled with tension, holding steadfast to the belief that she isn't obligated to discuss or even think about solutions involving therapy. Each conversation is a challenge, an uphill journey where my role oscillates between being a supportive partner and someone desperately seeking an understanding. When she says unequivocally that nothing about her dwindling libido connects to our mutual attraction or fidelity concerns, I believe her to the core of her being, recognizing that such honesty and trust aren't to be taken lightly. Yet, at the crux remains the untangled threads of her past trauma, events she steadfastly downplays amidst our current struggles. Although she assures me that our intimate experiences remain filled with positive memories, my worry is an undercurrent that runs beneath, fear that her unvoiced struggles might still be shaping this phase of our relationship. The question hovers: how often does the shadow of trauma quietly influence the present, even when unrecognized or unspoken? Attempting to respect her boundaries while voicing my emotional and mental needs, I find myself caught in a delicate dance. Yearning for a more comprehensive dialogue, I remain sensitive, patient, and hopeful, aiming to create a space where she feels secure enough to share whatever plagues her without feeling overwhelmed or misunderstood. Our relationship is still marked by a sense of genuine companionship, one where the echoes of our harmony linger. But we stand on a precipice now. On one side, the hope of mutual understanding, and on the other, the heavy silence that has been our stalwart companion. The journey ahead rests on us finding not only a middle ground, but a shared ground where empathy forms the foundation and our love builds the structure. Until then, I hold on to optimism, awaiting the moment where her guarded heart feels safe enough to let vulnerability in, trusting in the love we've nurtured together. We found ourselves in a disagreement recently, a clash that left both of us feeling raw and unseen. My only desire was for open communication and a path towards resolution, perhaps through therapy, which I held out as a potential lifeline, hoping it might shine a light on the unaddressed shadows. But she grew defensive, deploying words that stung, perhaps more than she intended. As we talked, I reached a breaking point, articulating something that had been gnawing at me from the inside out. I confessed that, in truth, I didn't want to engage in any form of intimacy with her at this moment. It felt wrong, as though any encounter was burdened with an erroneous sense of duty rather than desire, especially with only once-a-month interactions. Surprisingly, she was hurt by my admission, despite my intentions being rooted in honesty. Still, she clung to her wishes, a wish to let this simmer beneath the surface, unspoken and untouched by further dissection. In that moment, her tears and mine seemed to bleed into one unending well of frustration and unmet needs. How do you balance the desire for closeness with the necessity of space? This uncharted territory we navigate now, with its myriad of emotional landmines, has left me grappling with indecision. Do I yield to her silence, allowing her to set the pace of dialogue, or do I gently press on, hoping to break free from the cycle of non-communication that shackles us? I grapple with finding that serene balance, all the while desiring an openness where both our realities are acknowledged and valued. I stand at a crossroads, unsure of which path to take in this delicate dance of emotions and desires. It is an internal conflict, a push and pull that keeps my heart in constant limbo. Do I continue to advocate for the transparency I yearn for, the openness that seems to elude us? Or do I honor her request for silence, in hopes that given time, she might find her own way back to me? As much as I desire resolution, the fear of further straining our relationship by pressing on looms large. Yet, remaining silent feels like a slow erosion of the emotional bond we once shared. How long can I subsist on half conversations and tentative embraces? The wish is simple but profound, to find a middle ground where neither of us feels overshadowed, where love and understanding prevail over confusion and restraint. In this time of uncertainty, I hold on to the hope that through patience and love, we will navigate these turbulent waters together and come out stronger on the other side.